Hola Madridistas, welcome back to another episode of Let's Be Real podcast. Tonight, it's been a good night. Honestly, I can't ask any more from the team than that kind of a performance in that kind of a hostile atmosphere. We have been accustomed to El Sada being extremely hostile. Over the course of the last 4 or 5 years or so, they are not a team to be taken lightly. Let's put it that way. Osasuna is not a pushover by any means. Comfortably top half of the table, mid-table team almost every year. Like have one of the best academies in all of Spain. Probably the only ones who can talk to them about academies are like probably maybe Bilbao or Sociedad. So it's Osasuna is a bogey team for us. I mean, if we didn't play our cards right in the second half, like it could have been a case of same old, like when we travel, especially to the northern part of Spain, it has been a constant theme where we drop points throughout the season, especially. But our boys saw it through, man. Like I'm ecstatic. Talk to me, Doris. How have you been feeling?
Obviously, good. We finally kept consecutive clean sheets. That is something new to us this season, I guess. But yeah, it was an exciting game, even though it was really rough, and I feel like we wasted a lot of energy for the huge game that we have, in just a couple of days. But yeah, to know when, of course, I'm happy.
Especially considering, like you just said, it's Anfield in a couple of days. We had to get the result right. Like the performances, I wasn't exactly bothered about it because performances from February until late February, exactly maybe March until May, performances don't count. Yes, while we suffer a loss, probably a good performance can kind of lift the mood. But days like this, performances don't really matter. It's the results. And if we lost any more ground on Barcelona in the league, it would have been basically game over. I personally think it is kind of over, but this kind of reinstills that there is still a long way to go. Um, I have to big up Carlo, man, before we get into the team. Like I honestly thought the first half was, well, there is a clear blueprint, to play against us. Where teams kind of sit deep, frustrate us, try to actually kind of get into our heads. Um, like Vinnie held his own until late, like 45th minute or so. So I was kind of concerned the second half would be a repetition of that theme where like these guys are trying to wind us up, but he made some neat tactical changes which we'll get into, which kind of made us play better, to be honest, because in the first half, apart from maybe like a couple of chances, like Rodrigo, man, had a very ordinary game. Like yes, he had some bright sparks, but he couldn't just link up well with Vinny or with Fede, who was nowhere, near his right wing spot, like for large parts. Like he was covering for Nacho, who couldn't basically get the ball out. So, uh, yeah, man, big up Carlo for actually tweaking a few things here and there to actually, like get us out of like a little rut, which we were in the first half. But let's start with the goalkeeper, Thibaut. I don't think there is much to say about him. There was one parry, I think it was in the first half, which I thought was a shot that he could have probably caught. But apart from that, Thibaut, as usual, solid.
Yeah, very solid performance. I remember he made two consecutive very good saves. I think for the second one, the player was already offside or something, but yeah, still very good saves. All in all, a clean sheet. So that's like scoring a goal for a striker. Yeah.
Thibaut, more than often we can really depend on his composure in games like this. When everybody is against us. But yeah, quickly moving on to the defense, man. Nacho, Rudiger, Alaba, and Militao started tonight, and Alaba down the left flank. Like, I'm not a huge fan. I'll be honest. Yes, in the second half he kind of improved, but your take on Alaba, man? Like, is he actually going to displace Mendy when he comes back? That's the real question.
Yeah, it really depends on Mendy. And so far this season, I mean, I feel like Mendy is very protected amongst the fans, and it's very difficult to criticize him without being called a clown or something. But yeah,
You think that? I think the opposite. I think nobody gives a. I don't want to swear.
I don't agree with that.
in the
Like,
first
I see a
nobody
lot of people defending him all the time.
really. I think the opposite. Okay, fair, fair,
Uh,
fair.
yeah, mostly saying things like he's been a rock and stuff like that. Uh, Cliche things. But yeah, I don't think
It isn't
he's.
exactly cliche. Doris, wake up. He has been a rock. He has been a rock.
No, no, he has. But if we're gonna, compare his performance, with the best performances that we had from our fullbacks, amongst the years, I wouldn't put him, as one of the best. I don't think anyone would. And
He's a different kind of a fullback. I mean,
yeah, definitely. He's much more defensive, and sometimes we or yeah, sometimes we whine about his offensive abilities, and being able to provide consistent crosses as some well-known fullbacks, but I guess it's not happening. And then we have Alaba, like tonight, he wasn't really that great at crosses, and we always say how good he is in the offense.
that one cross in the first half. Oh my God! Like, I don't know what he was expecting. It is the conundrum, like when Benzema misses a game, like people just is kind of zoned into,
Uh,
like maybe finding a focal point, which he did.
yeah, but yeah, he stayed in their half most of the game, which was it was nice to have an extra player there, and at some points he did create chances. It was sad, that nothing happened from them, and at some points, he even misplaced a few crosses, or they got bounced off or something, and he was angry with himself. I saw him slapping the ground
Yeah, I did
one
as well.
time.
Um, like, I agree with you in certain aspects where, yes, like he was kind of bombing forward. He was trying to kind of act as an outlet, but I didn't think he was effective at all until probably when Ceballos went off, because that particular triangle between Ceballos, Vinnie, and Alaba didn't work. Didn't work. Um, After so many consecutive weeks where we thought Ceballos was good, I wasn't particularly impressed tonight. But
Oh no, no, me neither. I'm just saying about the contrast, from like what we ask of our players. Like we always say how great it is from Mendy that he defends so much, and he's not that great in offense, and it's the opposite with Alaba. Not to say that he's bad in defense.
the way we play, it's perfectly set up for a guy like Mendy, and
Yeah.
it really gets to see how Alaba is gonna put up with Salah on Tuesday.
Mm,
Salah is not the old Salah, but It'll be
especially how much he likes
on
to
that.
go forward, and yeah, it is gonna be very difficult for him, and I'm
Mhm.
pretty sure he's gonna have a couple moments when he's gonna need to decide if he's gonna do his thing in the offense or just stay back and be a rock.
And the funny thing is, when Alaba bombs forward, the guy who's supposed to protect him is Rudiger. Funnily enough, again,
Mm.
I'm not impressed by him at all, man. Like, yes, he has some redeeming qualities. Yes, you can see sparks of a brilliant defender somewhere in there. But talk to me about Rudiger, man. Uh, were
Yeah.
you were you confident that he was gonna be better than recent weeks tonight, or were you expecting the same? Because I was expecting the same, and it definitely happened.
I don't know. I'm pretty much always hopeful, with most of our players. I'm always an optimistic person, even if I don't always look like that. But yeah,
You don't be wrong.
yeah. I hope that he gets better. And yeah, tonight with our whole defense and the way we played, I wasn't sure if Osasuna was gonna score a goal, and it didn't feel that uh, certain, that we're safe in the defense, and
Mhm.
we had Nacho, Militao, Rudiger, and Alaba. Like all of them are like defenders, like our best defenders, and we were rocky, man. We were rocky, and it's not just Rudiger or Alaba or Militao or Nacho. It's just the way it is. Like we were pretty rocky, and we still kept a clean sheet. Which was good, and most of the how do you say that? Most of
Yeah,
that goes to Osasuna for missing their chances. The, they
yes, yeah.
they had a
Osasuna
couple of those. Yeah.
had some very good gilded chances, which your fellow countrymen, probably he would have been offside, but Budimir
Oh,
was a
at one
constant threat.
point he got the ball, gave it to another player and started running to our box and just slammed into his own player. It was so funny, dude. He
He's
sometimes like
chaotic.
Budimir is like all over the place. Like he's a really strange player. Like he is a really good forward or striker sometimes, but sometimes something happens to him where he just stops working and just does robot things, I guess. I don't know how else to call it.
Well, Budima is an old-fashioned forward. Like you can't expect him to do what modern strikers usually do, but he still is a very handy player to deal with, for opposition defenses, and yeah, man, he created, just his presence created so many problems. But um, Ashik in the comments says, another win to keep our unbeaten run continuing matches that we haven't lost. Rudiger made a massive flub and gave the ball away yet again. Yes, there was a couple of moments where Rudiger was completely caught at sea, and then there was a moment where Rudiger kind of was, I think, trying to defend Moi Gomez. That very vicious shot which struck the post around like the 16th minute mark. Um, Rudiger, for me, his biggest flaw is his body position when he's trying to hassle players into, like forcing, how do you put it? Forcing the opposition attackers into making a mistake. Like when a defender is kind of anticipating the attacker to make a move, you kind of wait for him. There is a particular stance which we all have made, even when we play FIFA. We kind of have to make sure our body position is perfect, because if our body position is not perfect, like we tend to be caught in two man's land while defending an attacker, and that's I think from a layman's eyes, that's what I think is what makes Rudiger very, very ordinary, because he has the athleticism, he has the height, he has the intimidation factor. Like, he is a big man. Like, nobody wants to mess with Rudiger, but I don't know, man. Like, probably he'll grow into it. That's what I've been saying, all throughout the season. I hope he does. We need him. Because definitely from now until the end of the season, like, there'll be plenty of rotation. And beginning of the season, I never expected Rudiger to have such an integral role. But now looking back, I think, probably this was something he didn't expect himself. But he has to really, really take these chances, because, Rudiger, if we had a chance to kind of not include him in the lineup at the moment, maybe we would have, like, given him some time out. But yeah, man, I'm keeping my fingers crossed. We know there is a player in there, we hope we get to see him before, the end of the season. But yeah, man, Militao, I think, we rarely speak about Militao, which is purely because of how good he is. Like, when a player is really, really a level above his competition, his peers, it just goes to show. Like, people are easily wound up by shortcomings or poor performances, but when a player is actually playing out of his skin, like, you can't really say much about Militao, rather than he's just phenomenal.
Yeah, for being 24, you always have to mention that. Militao, he will only get better, and right now, he has a big challenge in front of him. Keeping up, with matches, not being injured. Sometimes he comes off in our games, which is not what we want, and yeah, it happens. But yeah, for the next couple of games, we're gonna need him a lot. And today's game, he was good, and for our entire defense, as I said, it was rocky, and we could have done better. But individually, I would say that he had a pretty good game, and yeah, he made, I think, two crosses to Vinnie, which were like spot on, perfect for him.
His diagonals are very underrated. Like,
Really good,
pinpoint,
really good, really good. Yeah.
pinpoint.
And that is something we need to keep our eye on. It is something that we could really utilize. And Vinicius is pretty good at receiving those kinds of balls. He is known to have a pretty good first touch, and he showed that today. And even with the chance that he had, I think it was in the first half, he had a really good first touch, and then the second one, let him down.
We'll get to Vinny. We'll get to Vinny.
Yeah,
He is
but
a
those are
polarizing player.
those are those kind of balls that we love from Militao, and I hope that
His
we
aggression,
see more of those.
his eye for the right position in crucial situations, like his dribbling ability. He almost doesn't look like a defender at times, because of how neat he is, in tight spaces. Militao is very, very good, very, very good. Like, I can't believe that we moved in such a direction where we kind of integrated him into our team, like, good 2, 3, 4 years ago. When people like Ramos was still around. It got to show. It got to really show. Like, if probably a guy like Militao, young, coming in to the biggest club in the world, if he didn't have the right personnel around him, like, he would have ended up like any other defender who just didn't fulfill his potential. But at this moment in time, apart from Barajo, I can't think of a defender better than Militao. It is just them two at the top.
Yeah,
You know, like
and I mean, he had or has a really big job on him, replacing Ramos and Laran. Like, come on, like, after so many years of domination, I would say, uh, having him play almost every game, when he's healthy, he starts, and for being 24 and replacing those guys, like, that is a big job, and
he has
so
also.
far, like, we have to praise him how well he is doing, and his age is only proving how class he will be, in the years to come. But I'm always worried with him with his injuries, like, he seems to be like very injury prone, and not really.
I think it's a consequence of him having to start every game. Basically, he is the most important defender. Like, um, for a club that actually is in so many competitions, it is kind of difficult, honestly. Like someone said it the other day. I read it somewhere on Twitter. I think someone said, life of a professional footballer is like being in the washing machine. I forgot who said that. Was it Rashford?
Yeah,
I
I
don't
forgot
remember,
that. Yeah, I
but
saw
someone
that.
did
I
say
saw
that.
that.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you get the depth, right? So it's not at all easy. And if I remember correctly, Militao also had to go some personal issues in his life, being so young. It is not. It wasn't great circumstances. The spotlight was definitely on him last year, and how he came out the other end. Like, truly commendable, truly commendable. But let's read some comments. Ashik B in the comment section, he says, "But I'm looking forward to you guys covering A Road today, or Al Road, yeah." Alvaro Rodriguez, for sure. We're gonna touch up on him. Brilliant cameo. Tas Aliba says, but that's normal for defenders if they play good. It's all fine. Make one mistake and they're ready to kill you. Yeah, that comes with the territory, I guess. But defenders, like they are not usually, the guys who are not let off easily. I totally feel you. Ashik also says, Root seems to make a lot of mistakes consistently. Yes, he does. We have been tired of, actually kind of discussing Rodrigo's mistakes so often. But I guess it is his first year. Alaba kind of integrating into the team last season was just magic. Like, probably Alaba and Rudiger are different caliber of players. Let's be honest. I guess that is the main thing. Rudiger is a good defender. Alaba is a seasoned defender or a seasoned player. Like, he might not be the best defender in the world, but Alaba has so much more to his arsenal, than a guy like Rudiger. Probably that's the reason. Let's see how he kind of navigates these last 2-3 months, and let's see how it goes. To be honest, but yeah, talking about Nacho, Doris, I didn't think Nacho had a good game. So many weak clearances. Basically, like, Fede had to kind of, like, hold his hand down the right flank for large parts tonight. Your thoughts on Nacho Rodriguez, captain
Uh,
for?
yeah. Nacho, like, you. This is what we're talking about. When we compare playing Nacho and Dani Carvajal. We always miss him in the offense, and when he goes in the offense, it's usually to be on the other end of a cross instead of crossing. And sometimes it happens that he makes a good run into the midfield, and those are nice. But yeah, tonight, I wouldn't say that he had a brilliant game, but he does have those, and I wouldn't, be concerned about him. Like, he is still, I think, like, one of our most valuable players, and it happens like not.
You're right, because
I don't.
Nacho,
Yeah,
go.
yeah. I don't think any player had an like an incredible game, or at least our starters, and yeah, like I wouldn't blame him for anything today, but I would, say, that him missing in the offense, made us play all of our attacks on the left side, and that is gonna cost us one day, and sometimes it does, because we saw what happened to Vinicius. But yeah, we will get to that.
Our right hand side is a crutch. We have said that all along, even last season. Our right hand side is basically a facilitator for our left hand side to work. I mean, I think that is the trade off of actually getting these group of players to be effective, because we don't have the funds of, say, a City or a PSG. PSG might not be the best example, but City, yeah, City is the best example in my opinion, because they have the funds to constantly turn over players to get it just right. But for us, we have to kind of make with what we can attract in the market and actually, afford in the market. So right hand side has always been an issue, and at least for Nacho tonight, he's not a naturally right-handed player. Like, he can be a left back, and he can be a very good one at it, like we saw in the Champions League last season. But playing right back, it's not going to work. Let's be honest. Like, there have been games, even during the phase, after the World Cup, where when Nacho is deployed at centre back, he's more often a 7. I've never seen Nacho being a 6 when he's playing in a position that is ideal for him. But right back, no. I don't think it gives him any leeway for any errors, or even make some brave decisions to bomb forward. Nacho tonight, more often than not, had to kind of tuck in. I don't know why he tucked in. Probably, yes, I remember why he tucked in. The fullback behind Eze. I mean, not Eze. The guy from Barca. I forgot his name. But yeah, the wing back behind Ezu or Eze. I forgot the Barca youth product. Like, the wing back behind him was giving us plenty of problems. So Nacho had to really tuck in to kind of protect, protect the back line and kind of make it tight. But it goes to show that, like, we are very, very dry on wing backs, and that has to be the focus of our market strategy in the summer, because without wing backs, the way we play, the way we set up, the flat 4-4-3-3 doesn't work. We need overlaps, we need underlaps, we need energy more than ever, because we don't have a natural right winger, as of now. So that also adds to the whole problem. So I'm not gonna rein in too much on Nacho. He had to do a job. He did a job. He came off. End of story.
No.
But yeah, let's move into the midfield, man. Who should I start with? The guy who came off first, Ceballos.
Yeah. Ceballos, he started really well, like in this second half of the season, and I wouldn't say that he was bad or anything, like for any players tonight.
For me, at least, a passenger. Like, he wasn't effective.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's pretty much how I would describe it. There wasn't really that much to see from him. Like I said, he started really well this second half of the season, and we started to expect something brilliant from him every single game. But yeah, nothing to really point out from Ceballos.
Yeah, Ceballos. This is the thing, like people used to actually call me harsh when I used to say Ceballos is a very good player. Yes, he hadn't peaked at Madrid yet, like especially the first few seasons was kind of difficult for him. He went out on loan. We saw glimpses of his talent at Arsenal as well. But for me, Ceballos is a very, very valuable squad option. Definitely, when we need to kind of rotate our midfield or to actually affect the game from the bench, we need a guy like Ceballos, and his skill set is very, very, very good. He's not the guy to rush a pass. Especially in a game of tight margins. Probably off the bench, he can make a difference. Like, and we need him. And like I've seen reports stating that yes, he'll be given a new contract, but there wouldn't be an increase in his wages or a guaranteed starting spot, which I totally understand because unlike the hyperbole that we fans go through, the board and Perez, they know what they're dealing with. Like a guy like Ceballos is definitely uh, suited for us, but probably not as a starter. But like we have seen, especially last season, where guys who are not starters can really, really go a long way. In kind of seeing out games. Like it is not a new thing. So Ceballos knows his role, and I hope he's patient. I know it's frustrating. It is not a good thing to constantly warm the bench, but um, I hope he kind of embraces this welcome new chapter in his life at the club, man. And tonight, for me, wasn't exactly wasn't exactly the guy who was orchestrating things. Like he tried his best, but like I said earlier, the triangle between Alaba, Ceballos, and Vinnie wasn't good. And when that doesn't work, honestly, it ends up in something like we saw for the first 60 minutes, where we just lacked that cutting edge. But yeah, man, his partner Luka Modric, who had like two different roles to play during the game. Um, for me, another passenger until Carlo kind of tweaked his midfield setup. Whereby he bought on Asensio, moved Fede and Camavinga into a double pivot, and basically asked Luka Modric to roam free and play as a 10, which ended up in the first goal. Yeah, man, your thoughts on Luka Modric?
Yeah, like most of our other players, there wasn't much to see from him, but it happens very rarely that he has a bad game, and today it just wasn't one of those days. He wasn't brilliant like he always is, but yeah, he did get fouled quite a lot, especially in the second half, and
Even Budimir tried to hack, remember?
what?
Even Budimir tried to hack him down, like I think in the second
Yeah,
half.
yeah, at one point, and he tried to argue that, and yeah, it was funny, but he did get fouled quite a lot in the second half, but for his game in general, he was pretty good, but like I said, nothing special from our midfield today, and uh, like all in all, like our defense and midfield, like with every other team in football, is connected, and today it just, it was difficult sometimes to get the passes out. Kamavinga wasn't sometimes where he was supposed to be, and Modric had to cover a lot of ground in the midfield today. But we're gonna talk about Kamavinga then. Yeah, Kamavinga. He didn't get a yellow, which was something to.
Camavinga was the best of the lot, at least for
Yeah,
me.
he didn't get a yellow, which is instantly a great game from him, because almost every game, what separates him from having a really good game is mostly the yellow card, at least for me, because most of the game, like most of the games, he is really good, but he gets the yellow, and it just brings down his performance and the team's performance. And when he plays like this, and is safe, he almost got a serious injury. I'm so glad he is okay. He really scared me there. That was a
Yeah,
really tough challenge, like with
fast to
the
do that stone,
w-
honestly.
yeah,
And
with the
fast,
bottom of your
fast
boot. Damn, like that is a.
that should be a red. That should be a red.
Yeah, I was
Honestly.
thinking like
That's kind of
they might actually check it, but I guess not. Nothing happened. So yeah, I mean the player did get a yellow, but for me it should have been VR. But yeah, like it, he was so lucky not to break his leg there, and it wasn't a good play by either of them. Like both of them were playing a very risky play there. Both of them knew they were gonna get smashed, and yeah, what happened. We could have gotten a red card from Osasuna in the first couple of minutes, but yeah, Camavinga all in all had a really good game. Yeah. What do you think?
very, very encouraging from Kamavinga, honestly. He was a guy who was reportedly being frustrated and quote unquote, probably, it might be taken out of context, but I remember reading stuff like, I don't want to be a bench option forever, which is very honest in his thoughts on his situation at the club. But
And he probably
um,
won't be. Like he
yeah,
actually like
at this rate, he won't be, honestly.
he won't be. He will start for us very soon. I'm pretty sure. And even getting like 40% of the games right now would like starting would be really good for him. I mean, you can look at like Pedri and Gavi. Like they're like very young, just as he is, and they play consistently for Barca, and I'm sure that Camavinga looks at them and thinks, why can't this be me? I think I'm good enough for that, and as long as
But
he thinks
let
that.
me let me cut you right there, because Barcelona is a Europa League club, bro. That's why.
Okay, I knew you were gonna do that. Yeah, but you know what I'm saying. There are many other very young players like he is, and yeah, for
It is
Camavinga
just
to
the
start,
it is
yeah,
it is just the people in front of him. It's
yeah,
difficult at this moment in time.
yeah, and
But you can all see that Modric, especially after the World Cup, like when he doesn't have the same juice, he's not the same player. If he's a little fatigued, like everything Modric does depends on how sharp he is. Honestly, you know.
yeah,
Um,
but still, I wouldn't say like his performances are still really good. It's just that they're not magical like we used to, and sometimes, but it takes a lot for him to have a bad game. And even after the World Cup, I wouldn't say that he ever played really badly. It's just
he
that
had below par performances, but yeah, I wouldn't call performances bad. But
yeah,
we hold him to such high standards. You
yeah,
gotta remember
exactly,
that.
yeah, exactly. He has really high standards, and I mean, age is catching up with him. I mean, he's gonna be 20 years old soon, so yeah. uh, uh, but it is the truth, and we can already see, at least for Kamavinga, like he will get his time. John Many will come back, and he won't have to play there. And
The funny thing is,
yeah, for Kamavinga, we saw him play in multiple positions this season, and he is that kind of player that will always get game time because we always seem to have players, missing
And
and
and and and the one thing that I have to add is that he is an absolute warrior. Like the amount of times that he has been, like hacked down, especially tonight, and he got up every single time and was like, "Let's go again." That's the kind of mentality I need. At my club, Kamavinga looks so matured. Honestly, so matured for his age, and yeah, man, I hope Farouk is listening, honestly, because he didn't have good things to say when he actually, came to the club like a couple of years ago. But yeah, like if you would have told me um, favorites to start at Anfield, maybe somewhere in December when the draw was made, if I'm not mistaken. If you told me the contenders for starting in our midfield away at Anfield was Kamavinga and Ceballos, I would be like, "Are you insane?" Straight up. But that's where we are at, like in like end of
but I'm so
February.
happy that it is that way. Like it is so good because we still have close there, and I mean having Tony there alongside Ceballos that is really good right now, and Valverde being finally being back to his old self. Still having Luca there. Many will come back. Come on, Vingas is there. Like we are stacked there, and I'm feeling really good about our midfield. But what keeps happening is that we never know like who's gonna play in our midfield, and it's very unpredictable, I guess, for our midfield there, and I don't think in that sense it's good for the players, to never know if they're gonna play. But all in all, it is good that we have so many quality players, and our bench is pretty much good in the midfield.
This is kind of a transition season, especially in the midfield aspect, because we were already in an abrupt transition because of Casemiro leaving, and we never know what's going to happen between now and June. But the increasing signs are that probably Luca and Tony might call it a day, and yeah, man, I'm not ready for it. And like you said, yes, this constant changing of the midfield doesn't. I don't think it sits well with the players. I don't think it sits well with how cohesive we can be in midfield. But especially with the amount of games we are going to play, I think it's gonna just work right, especially in keeping these guys fit. But I'm gonna just read up some comments here. Ashik B says even Modric's average game is better than half the players in the world. Facts. I mean,
Facts.
yeah, like
That's
if people
exactly
get the
what I'm saying. Like it takes a lot for him to be bad. Like his average game is better than mostly anyone in La Liga at least.
yeah.
Even his most average game. Yeah.
That's the thing. That's the thing. Like even back in the day, people used to. I mean, they're kind of a different profile, but people used to pip Modric with Kevin De Bruyne, and I used to tell them, like, De Bruyne, yes, he is the guy who gets the stats right. Like he'll be on the score sheet, or like all, or like he'll be uh, putting up assists on the board, but as a player, like he's nowhere near Modric, unfortunately. But yeah, man, that's the thing with
I'm
PL.
pretty sure some people will fight you to death on that. Uh,
Mm,
De Bruyne is obviously like a world class player, but he's one of those players that I'm not sure that he would be amazing in every single team, and it
yeah,
happens to some players. And at least like if I think about him joining us, at least maybe if he was younger or if that was even a possibility, I'm not sure that he would be as good as he is with City, and
mm,
if he changed a club like he played before City, he was still really good. That's why
And most one, yeah.
they got him right, and yeah, like still I feel like there's something missing about him. Like there is something that he has to prove,
Mm.
right? And Modric proved everything in his career, right?
For me, the one thing that I have fought uh, Modric's side by is the fact that whenever I see Kevin De Bruyne, like, yes, the Premier League is a different story.
Mm.
If you can spend 300, 400 million every now and then, buy all the players you want, you buy a wing back, it doesn't work, you ship him out, you buy the next one. If you can kind of control the domain in the Premier League, yes, he can stand up. But whenever City has been in the tough position in the Champions League, when the eyes of the world are actually on him, I've seen him, look sunken,
Mm.
like probably look disinterested, probably look frustrated, probably look like, yeah, I'm the main guy, and these guys are not on my level. At least that's what I've seen whenever I've seen Kevin De Bruyne in a tight situation, honestly. But yeah, that's a different story, and I hope Steve is not listening in. But that's just my honest opinion.
No, I don't think it's that drastic at all. Like, I still think whenever he is on the pitch, he's almost always the best player there. And
Yeah,
maybe
yeah,
maybe even for both of the teams sometimes. And like I did say that he maybe wouldn't fit or slide into everything, but I still think that he is above many other players, and maybe even one of the best in Europe right now. Not maybe, he is one of the best in Europe right now. I'm just saying that maybe he wouldn't fit us. Maybe he would. Maybe he would be incredible for us. But if we're gonna compare Luka and De Bruyne, I don't think
it's
it's even
the
comparable.
you just have to look at what Luka did with Croatia and what KDB did with Belgium. It's just
Yeah.
light and day. Honestly, it's not a conversation, not a conversation. And I'm sure, and I'm 100% sure, when these guys hang up their boots, when people look back 20 years down the road, they're gonna put Modric above KDB. Facts. Nobody's gonna argue with you. Honestly, they'll say, "Yeah,
Uh,
KDB was brilliant, but Modric will be
to
a tire
me,
of
I
that."
don't see why anyone would even compare
At this moment in time,
those two.
City is a beast. City is a beast that is
Oh
unstoppable.
yeah, definitely. I mean,
And,
but we
and
did beat them last season, and we proved, being a beast, isn't always everything, and
yeah,
we proved that multiple times last season. And if uh, if we just gonna talk about those two players, uh, Luka played like every minute that he could. City subbed out their main player, or Guardiola
yeah,
did,
yeah. That
you
goes to
know.
show. That goes to show. Like that was
And
for me. Yeah,
bro,
thank you for reminding me that. Yeah,
five
that was the telling point.
Champions Leagues and a Ballon d'Or. End of
Enough
conversation.
said.
Like,
Enough said. Enough said. But yeah, the subbing him out. I remember that. I remember that. You don't sub out KDB unless the guy thinks, yo, like he's not in it. Like he's not up for it. Honestly, and
I mean, at that point in
if
time,
you
they were
remember,
saying that he was being rested, if I'm remembering correctly, for I think Watford or something like that, which was hilarious.
let's
And
let's let's not get into
and they just no,
Doris.
not even go into
but
that. Yeah.
but the thing is, I don't know if you remember this, Doris. I don't know how many years ago this was exactly, but there is this meme, right? Like where like someone is trying to pull KDB off and he's shouting, let me talk."
Mm.
Like have you seen it?
Yeah, yeah. Of course I have.
Yeah, the Premier League, which clearly goes to show he's not a leader. He is not a leader, and that just completely flushes out the conversation. Like honestly, like when you compare Modric, captain of Croatia, has been captain of Real Madrid at times, and a very vocal leader. All the time all the time he's on the pitch. So even off the pitch. So yeah, man, that conversation is never gonna fly. But yeah, a few more comments that we need to get into before we kind of dip our feet into the attack tonight. Ashibi says Vinny is going back to his old habit of doing too much when in the box. Do what Judy Dench told Moneypenny: take the bloody shot. I guess
Exactly.
I
Exactly.
guess it's a reference from Mission Impossible, if I'm not mistaken, or was it James Bond? Sorry, my bad. James Bond? Was it James Bond? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I watch much more independent cinema than mainstream. Ashik. I actually like to apologize, but he also adds, Kamavinga doesn't give up when he loses the ball. He'll chase and try to win the ball back. The boy is a fighter. That is the Real Madrid way. Fight till the end. Absolutely. Kamavinga, players like Kamavinga really, really embodies the spirit, man. Like honestly, when you see Kamavinga, yeah, that's the kind of a guy, like who would die for the shirt. Kamavinga, honestly, his attitude is such a huge plus. Such a huge plus. I still remember there was a point in time, not just at our club, but in all major clubs in the top five leagues, there used to be constant remarks where, what, like the guys from the older generation, like they dealt with stuff that happened on the pitch different. But people like Kamavinga, honestly, is a throwback. Is an absolute throwback. But Ashik also gus to say KDB gets all this praise over Luka because he's in the Premier League playing for a bunch of cheats. But KDB is a fantastic player, no doubt. Yeah, the allegations hasn't been proven yet, but I hope like it happens honestly from a neutral perspective at least. KDB had a slightly better team in Belgium on paper than Croatia, but look what Luka was able to do with Croatia at 33 and 37. Facts. KDB had a prime Hazard in 2018 when Luka had an aging Mandzukic, and Rakitic was also honestly prime. What did Luka do with that? Got Croatia to the final. He also adds Modric can be brought up in conversations involving Zidane. Facts. Whereas KDB not so much, unless Pep get his daddies from Emirates to pay everyone to change. Facts.
Perfectly said.
Perfectly said, I guess. Yeah, man. KDB can't be put up with Zizou. Honestly, not. Like probably a tier below. Who should I like? If I don't know, man. Any name I say might sound harsh, but for me, KDB is like your Xabi Alonso. Xabi Alonso was so good, so good, like so good. I don't understand why he doesn't get mentioned enough, but Xabi Alonso was different, really. I think he's more in that kind of an ilk rather than your Zizous, your Zicos, etc. But he also, as Luca, Toni, and Cassie are probably the greatest modern day midfield trio who complemented each other with perfect balance. Skyfall, yes. Judy Dench, yeah, I got that right. Like I've watched enough, not all James Bond movies, but yeah, huge fan of the P.S. Brosnan and Daniel Craig era for sure. Um, yeah, man, let's get into Vinny. Ashik gave us a segue. For me, usually I'm the guy who maybe at times goes a little harsh on Vinny, right? But for me, tonight, um, I think the team did him no favors. Because if Vinny does something impulsive, does something incredible, that is the only way we're going to find a way through. Even like when Benzema is there, there is sort of um, a correlation between them that enables our team to perform so much better. But when it's Rodrigo playing down the middle, yes, they can combine, but Rodrigo is not a striker, is not a natural striker, and I've said this so many times. He just is not natural center forward. He can play off a very seasoned center forward. Like he can be an assist, but he just doesn't do enough, in my opinion. But before we actually get into what Doris thinks about Vinicius, there's like 15 odd of you in the chat. Smash the like button, people. If you're new, don't forget to subscribe, and yeah, check us out on audio platforms as well if you want to, listen to us on the go. But yeah, man, Doris, Vinicius, your thoughts? Frustrating at times, like he does some mad stuff in games. So silky, man, so silky on the ball. His reverse chops are insane. Like, the way he kind of changes direction at the last moment. I don't think there is a way anybody can stop him when he's on it. But that final lack of decision making is what kind of brings down Vinicius most of the time, and it did for large parts tonight.
It did. It really did. I don't think anyone can really deny that. I mean, he had so many chances that mostly he was, he was the one that should take the credit for those chances, and he had two one-on-ones with the goalkeeper, and I don't like that is one one thing that Vinicius is known for is having those one-on-ones with the goalkeeper, and his finishing in those just has to get better. And like those are
Yeah, yeah.
for some other players in Europe or in the world, those are clear goals, like straight up goals. But for him, like I'm always looking at him like this, and it shouldn't be like that. He is one of the best players in the world, and his finishing just needs to be better. Because today, like damn, that was just atrocious, and he did get a goal that was later ruled out. To me, it was offside immediately. I didn't know why they even kept it going, like it already touched Valverde, but yeah. Anyway, um, he did get a goal ruled off. He celebrated like Ronaldo with a little like that.
Little prayer.
Yeah, and yeah, uh,
Vinicius, yeah, for me at least, right? Like when he's on it, he's unstoppable. Like everybody can see that. Like there is no one way to stop Vinicius because you can't. Because if you try to show him out wide, he'll beat you for pace. If you try to show him inside, he'll just skin you for skills. So Vinicius is that kind of player that you just have to pray you kind of can get into his head, and that again happened for a bit at like halftime, and I saw like Carlo getting so frustrated. Now I kind of feel like maybe uh, all this is actually getting even the coaching staff wound up, because for large parts, if you guys remember and who have been listening to us, regularly, um, we have always voiced this opinion that Vinicius probably need to focus on what goes on in the pitch and not get carried away by silly quarrels, like mid game. But that kind of really opened my eyes up, because Carlo was right in the face of the referee, asking him for explanation, like asking for more protection, and like he was clearly pissed off. And I've never seen Carlo being that mad, honestly. Like he's
bro,
not.
his
I,
face was scary. His
yeah,
face was scary, like, and his eyes, bro. I got scared. Like honestly, I got scared.
that's not the same expression when the other guy, was asking for gum, right? Like it's a totally different
Yeah,
version
yeah,
of Carlo.
yeah. And
Alter ego.
for the thing that he was arguing, or for the play that he was arguing, that was 1000% a foul. I don't know what the referee was thinking. I think he got ruled as an out. I think, I'm not sure what
Not sure as well.
happened, but it wasn't for us. And if that's not a foul, I don't know what is. Like Vinicius does, y- as we all know, draw those kinds of fouls, but in the rules of the game, it's a foul. And the player was aggressive. He got through Vinicius for the ball, actually hurting Vinicius and not getting a foul. And yeah, that is atrocious refereeing in my opinion. But for Vinicius in general, he he is such a magical player, but that finishing and sometimes even like those passes are not amazing. Like I meant the crosses, sorry, and then he does an assist for Valverde, and then I'm
Outside of the
like
boot,
God damn it,
typical.
Vinny, choose how you gonna play. Every game, he seems to have like really shitty moments, and I'm excuse my language. He seems to have like really bad moments, and then sometimes or always he redeems himself with something, and he is obviously our like most important player. And to, today, as always, every attack seemed to be through him. And yeah, like what else can you say? Sometimes we say that he had a bad game or that he's playing badly, but he is our most important player, and everything is
Yeah.
on him. He probably has the most touches in the game, or
I'll,
you know,
you know what? Like, I'll go as far as to say, without Vinny, Benzema is not winning the Ballon d'Or last season.
no, like no chance, no
Simply put,
chance,
he's not winning it.
no
So
chance, not a
Vinicius
shot.
is like, too crucial, like a non-negotiable for us in our team, whereby if he doesn't have a good game, we don't have a good game. Like that's it. Period. I remember like in the first 10 minutes, he should have had a goal. Like that like the Ceballos pass, which was like a through ball, kind of in between the centre back and the wing back of Osasuna. Like he clearly bet the guy, and again, kind of 101, but not as clear cut as the chance that he kind of choked on later on in the game. But yeah, man, I think that's the trade-off, right? Like for a guy as quick as him, for a guy who is as clever as him, he is bound to get more chances. And sometimes the more chances you get, you tend to kind of fluff a few. I mean, I think that is what we get in return for having someone who is a constant threat. Like he can't always um, put it away. I mean, I can't find any other explanation. Some players just have that instinct to finish, just like his compatriot Rodrigo, who
Yeah.
has a much more natural eye for goal. But Vinicius, uh, the scenario needs to be a bit more ideal for him to find the net. I feel like, but still, man, the outside of the football for Fede was insane. It was
He's
insane.
getting
Like
so good at those. He's getting really good at the outside
he
of the
he now
boot.
has quite the reputation for outside the boot
Yeah,
like passes. Like he does it constantly.
yeah.
Like it's
And having Luca there, the master of those, the maestro, he will only get better at those. And almost every game we get a couple of those, and I'm pretty sure we will get even more in the future. And it seems to me like every game he seems to use that kind of pass for at least one cross. And if they keep coming like these, I'm pretty happy with another skill unlocked or an achievement, for Vinicius this season. And even for Brazil, he was using those quite a lot. Even against Croatia, he I think he had like one incredible outside of the boot pass to his teammate.
Yeah. It's the variety of passes he can do with the outside of his boot. Like he can ping it like 40, 50 yards, like a complete fucking diagonal. He can just put it on a plate for an incoming runner like Fede. Before we get into Rodrigo, I want to get into Fede, man. Again, Carlo seems to be, fueling this guy like hell. Honestly, he he just he just has that knack, man. I can't lie, because Fede, when he actually, if you start watching the replay back again, you kind of notice Fede never kind of second guesses, should I go for the run? He's someone who gives it his all. You saw that Fede was, when you see that, you're gonna realize that Fede is making that run no matter what. If the ball reaches him, if the ball doesn't reach him, he's still making the run, and that's what made the goal. Without that goal, I don't think we are getting anything out of tonight's game, because the longer it stayed 0-0, the more comfortable Osasuna gets. We were playing to Osasuna's tune rather than us dictating the game, which was so frustrating, man. Like, honestly, there is a clear blueprint to actually frustrate us, and we have to change that scenario. But yeah, man, like that's for another day. But before we get into Fede, there's some interesting comments from Ashik. Ashik says, playing Rodrigo in 9 limits his abilities and takes him out of the game. Yeah, completely agree. Rodrigo is not a 9. Vinnie needs to filter out the noise. He lets the crowd and the sledging get to him. He needs to have laser focus, start taking Adderall. I'm not gonna advocate for that, but yeah, man, Vinicius needs to, completely focus on what's going on in the pitch. He'll get there. I'm pretty confident he's going to get there. Like, if he's going to represent us to the good part of the next 10 years or so, he has to completely get rid of that aspect of his game. He also says, but the refereeing was second rate. Who knows how much Barca paid this ref? Facts. We probably have to, bring up his bank statements. But fortunately, we might get to know what happens before the end of the season. I don't think Barcelona is gonna get penalized or anything, but we'll at least know what the federation thinks about it. Just for the sake of it, at least. Ashik says, let's not forget that Vinny seems to score the one-on-ones when Benzema is on the pitch. Clearly, he needs his mentor. Yes, Benzema attracts so many defenders, make people look behind their shoulder. When Vinicius is running through on goal on nights like this, the entire focus is on Vinny. And the only motive is to hack this guy down, and that's it. If we nullify Vinicius, that means Real Madrid does nothing. So it's as simple as that. Ashik goes on to say repeatedly, you mean one of Ashik's adopted sons, Fede. You have too many adopted sons, Ashik. At this rate, you might have to start an actual school. He also goes to say, although Fede is very different from Francescoli, not a filthy, but he is definitely on his way to be the key player for Uruguay and Real Madrid. I don't know who Francescoli is. My bad. Doris, do you have any idea?
No, I just saw that you had a difficult time there with the name. Dyslexia,
Well,
I guess.
Okay, it's not dyslexia. Come on.
It is for me. It is for me, but I still read it right. I'm just kidding.
Right. Yeah. Let's move on to Fede, Doris. We got sidetracked by the comments, but yeah, tell me your thoughts on the guy who is breaking the 10 goal mark and Yeah, passing with flying colors so far. Man seems to get everything right. He wasn't really good at the right wing flank. At least he had to, like we discussed earlier, had to do a lot of cleaning for Nacho. But when he moved onto the midfield, you saw what he brought to the table: energy, relentlessness, and ruthlessness when it
Mm.
mattered.
Yeah, Feder back to his old self. Even when he had to play some defense, that is what Feder does, and exactly why he's such a beast. Like that dude is an engine, and even when he moved to the midfield, him getting the goal and uh, getting more than 10 goals as promised, only goes to show how quality he is. Even last season we saw something in him, and we just ran with it. Just we played him every game, and we saw that even last season that he's just incredible. And he did have a blimp this season, and it I would say it kind of cost us, even, that
Yep.
blimp,
Yep.
mostly because we started to rely so much on Federico there. And yeah, right now he is, getting back to his old self, and him scoring a beauty today, and him, celebrating
Yep.
as he always does. I'm really hopeful that he is getting back to his old self, and I'm actually pretty hopeful with his performance against Liverpool. I think he will probably be one of our best players on Tuesday. At least that is my prediction.
He's bound to be. He's bound to be.
Um,
If you actually look at his track record, Fede has the knack for turning up in big games. He is a big game player. He is a big game player, and not only a big game player, he's also a player that can really turn a game on its head. And yeah, we saw that tonight. And like you said, I completely agree. When we kind of dry up on the goals that people like Fede offer, and let's not get it twisted, he is the sole goal threat from somewhere in the midfield. Like
mm,
Tony and Luca doesn't get as many goals as we like to, but it's not their game.
yeah.
But Fede brings in the goals that kind of tilts the tide in our favor in nights like this, and I'm so happy for him. So happy for him. Um, I only wish that he kind of keeps this up and leads us to another important trophy this season. Because in the Champions League, at least we'll need him massively. And boy, oh boy, we saw that, especially in the Club World Cup, and we are seeing it even tonight, that goals give him that extra boost, like any other player. Like he gets so much more motivated when he sees that his his all in style sometimes kind of pays off. For if you've done gambling, like I wouldn't advise gambling, but right? Like when you kind of get back something, like when you like roll the dice essentially and it works out, it is a different feeling. And Fede is reaping the rewards of both the management's trust, the trust in himself that he clearly has, and yeah, man, the confidence of his players and how much the team kind of looks up to him to be sometimes the difference maker. And I think he benefits from the spotlight being hugged by Vinicius and Benzema, and probably at times Thibaut, so much that like he can sometimes maybe go under the radar and yeah, do some magic. And tonight, like I said earlier, if it wasn't for Fede's goal, it would have been peak, honestly. And yeah, Ashik in the comments says Zidane modeled his game after Francis Coley. Zidane's idol, YouTube, Francis Coley. It's worth the watch. Honestly, I would like to apologize. I haven't heard of him before. I've no idea how I haven't. Um, Apparently, he played for Torino. Yeah, I would say that is not very good of me. But I'm gonna definitely look him up. He is a guy before my generation. So yeah, always good to um, know more about the game, honestly. But yeah, man, Rodrigo had a good chance, very good chance in the first half. Beginning of the second half, my bad. Beginning of the second half, when he actually found a little bit of space to get a shot away, which was yeah, like wasn't far off. But apart from that chance, uh, I didn't think he had a good game, honestly. And it is a recurring theme of stuff we have discussed before, where he is not a natural center forward. Simple as he just doesn't have the positional sense to play the role. Yes, he's nifty with his dribbling. Yes, he can combine, but sometimes as a striker, you need to know when to pivot, when to come short, um, when to run in behind, just basics, man. And when I see Rodrigo, he just doesn't know. He just is going off by instinct and probably relying on
Mm.
um, muscle memory to kind of recall. Oh, is Vinicius gonna run behind, or is he gonna ask to come short? So it's always a game of guessing when
One of
Rodrigo
the
is playing up there.
biggest things that you have to consider with Rodrigo, of course, he isn't a number nine, but he even when he is playing at that position, he just cannot play as a usual striker, even if he wanted to. Like he cannot join most of the aerials. Karim is always asking for those crosses so that he can head the ball, and Rodrigo just cannot do that. And that takes a very big element of being a number nine. You already, lose one aspect of being a nine, and he is the kind of player that likes to keep the ball at his feet, and he's so good with his feet. But being a number nine is just not something that he can consistently do, as we can see. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. When it does work is usually when he has that kind of day. And today he had one shot where it almost even looked like a an opportunity, I would say. And most of like his other touches in the game weren't spectacular, and it is so nice to see that we even get to criticize our players this way, because we're so used to our standards being so high. And for Rodrigo, it is so good that his standards seem to be getting higher and higher, and
It's very high, I'll tell you.
it's actually a good thing that we're talking about him. And I'm not saying that he is playing bad, but it's unfair to him, to be in that position. Even playing on the right wing is unfair to him, and sometimes uh, we hear people say, and even some people on the panel think that Rodrigo is better than Vinicius if he was, given a
I
chance
wouldn't say
to.
that. I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't
Who
say that.
was it that said that on the panel?
Probably Yadu, or I don't think Farooq would say something like that.
I'm
He's
not sure, but
confident
someone on the
on
panel
covering that.
said that once, that Rodrigo would be better if he had consistent
Maybe Jacob,
game time.
he's sneaky. He's
Yeah,
sneaky. Maybe
maybe,
Jacob.
maybe, maybe. But yeah, um, for Rodrigo, as
You
we
know what?
established,
You know what?
yeah, yeah, go
Sorry to
ahead.
cut you off. Sorry to cut you off, Doris, because it is like a segue into what you said.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like for me at least, right? Like if I envision Rodrigo playing down the left, yes, against Elche, it worked, and I saw the game. He was phenomenal. He was basically killing people left, right, and center. But um, in my honest opinion, I've watched the game long enough to know that if a guy like Rodrigo comes in to displace Vinicius, like in a hypothetical situation, he'll end up more or less like Vinicius because of predominantly two things. He has the pace like Vinicius, not as much
Mm.
pace as Vinny, but he still can get in behind and skin people. But he'll be a little more predictable with him trying to get his feet sorted like Vinicius, and I think that'll completely stifle his game. When Rodrigo is now cutting in from the right, he completely has to rely on his senses, completely has to improvise, and that's why I feel like Rodrigo looks insane. You know, where he's just instinctive. Um, I think honestly, right wing is a blessing in disguise, and I think he knows it himself that even though it doesn't favor his weak foot much, um, playing in from the right kind of makes him a little more unpredictable and makes him play better. I feel like honestly, but um, we might have to actually wait and see. But yeah, go on, Doris.
Yeah, I don't know.
Completely lost the train of thought, but it's
Yeah, I
fine.
don't know what
Let's
I wanted to say about him.
let's
Yeah.
get into some of the comments. Ashik says, Zida. Oh yeah, I read that. He says we have
Yeah.
to tune up the match in the Champions League on Wednesday against mid-table waste of space. I'm not going to say anything about Liverpool until the preview on Monday. Make sure you guys tune in for that. We have Chris back on the panel. It'll be it'll be a good conversation, like a follow up from our last conversation in June, and let's see what he has to say. Honestly, and I saw Liverpool against who was it? Newcastle today, and yeah, man, Newcastle basically gave them a confidence booster, and they look in really good nick. I shall say, like, and wasn't a happy watch. I'll just put it at that. Um, he also says Rodrigo is playing out of position. He's not even built for a striker position. Facts. Yeah, man, Alvaro Rodrigo is more built for it, needs to beef up still. He's still very, very young. Rodrigo is a bit different from Vinny, but he is more calm and focused than Vinny. Well, yeah, he is calmer, but focus, I don't know. Like, they have their strengths and weaknesses in equal share. Some days Vinny looks great, some days Rodrigo looks great. We need them both. We can't ask for much, like, and expect both of them to be firing on all cylinders every now and then. They're still relatively young, and they'll only get more consistent as time goes on. But yeah, man. Moving on to the subs, Sensio. This man again comes in clutch. He's the guy who basically wriggles out of the press and gives the ball to Modric, and then Modric gives the ball to Vinny, which ends up in the first goal. And then scores the assist from Alvaro Rodriguez. Yeah, man, lethal when we need him. Thanks you.
Yeah, it is funny, because we always talk about him. I mean, Asensio, like, we know him. He always scored baggers, and even though it took a while for us, to get that other goal or to get the goal in general. Asensio was there as always, and it's funny, like the way we talk about him, usually because he always seems to, uh, actually be there and score the goals, and I understand because like in some games that he starts, he isn't as good as he should be, you know. And
Mm.
people usually say because he's not a right winger or whatever, but I don't think that even matters, Like in general, you need to be better, And for the goals, it's just Asensio. He scores goals, and even this season he saved us, but he did have that blunder recently against Mallorca that maybe some people are pretty clouded right now about it. But I think even the commentator was saying that he will probably be starting against Liverpool, and he should be, satisfied with his performance today. And if he is okay with staying on the bench, and coming on for moments like this, I would like staying and at Madrid and being a legend. I don't think everything is in money and
Yeah,
being in the minutes and all that. Like I think sometimes the best thing is being in the right team at the right time. Just like scrape by, and if you're that good as you think you are, you will be good, right?
there
Right?
was there was a point in Asensio's uh, career with us, especially after Cristiano left. Um, and then he got injured and such. But somewhere in between, there was a period where he thought that he was undervalued. He thought that um, his abilities was in fact taken for granted, wasn't given the recognition he deserved. Um, at that stage, like yes, the management has a role, but I feel like the coaching staff and him, especially with Carlo, I'm talking about the Carlo reign, yeah, like Zidane's reign. Yes, he was in and out, but Zidane had rifts with so many players, so he's an enigma. Like you can't fuck with Zidane. Like let's put it that way. But with Carlo, I feel like he was kind of in a zone where he felt like he wasn't getting the opportunities he deserved, and Carlo was right for large parts. But this sudden rebirth or this sudden rise to importance of Asensio, I think, is predominantly based on the self-realization that yes, um, other clubs outside, might have greener pastures, but it wouldn't come with the same recognition as wearing this white shirt or the same glory that this white shirt offers to their players. So I think how this season ends up and how vital he'll be, like if he goes on to have a very good season, contrary to popular belief, I think his agent and himself would settle for some sort of a rotational role off the bench when we need him, just like Ceballos, because these players are invaluable.
I
People just,
I really hope so. For both of them, for both of them. And how often do we have to mention to some? I don't like. I don't understand these fans, and I've mentioned this before, especially with Asensio and Ceballos. Like those are our Spanish players, and this season we had a pretty embarrassing, moment where we fielded zero Spanish players in our team. That's embarrassing. Let's keep it real, and I don't understand these fans these days. Every player that they dream of getting is not Spanish. Not one of them. Maybe Paul Torres. Maybe. You know, I I've seen some people mention
Paul
him.
Torres
We
is a threat.
mention him all the time here, but most fans always speak about foreigners. And I feel like we're gonna lose the soul of this team. And
I think the
Spain.
club also can't act out of its interest because there is a Spanish quota, right? There is an
Hmm?
EU quota, not EU quota as well. So they have to meet all of that. And yeah, like you said, like it is kind of surprising to like have seen that happen. Where a lineup didn't have a single Spanish national, but there is more to it than that, right? Like Doris, definitely. Like Asensio and Ceballos doesn't make the squad just because of the Spanish quota, but they really bring very needed individual qualities to the table,
Yeah,
right? Like
and
they
and it would be, I would understand if those players were ass, but they're
Yeah.
not. Like
Yeah.
those are both of those players are quality players, and I understand for Asensio. You know, a lot of people don't like him and think he's inconsistent, which he is. But yeah, he's still like a really good player. And last season, some people mocked me for saying that. But yeah, Asensio is still a really good player. And with Ceballos this season being so good, I don't understand people even
I,
wanting
I think the
to.
hatred, Doris, I think the hatred stems from the fact that he said something about Barcelona, but he is human at the end of the day. Yes, that is something
That didn't
sacred.
start then. Like, let's not pretend
Time
that
before,
people
I know,
started
but it
that
kind of,
then. And this
I get
isn't
it.
the first season that people are acting like this. How many times have people whistled him? Our fans have whistled him on the pitch. I mean, he did have a few moments where he, you know,
Yeah.
showed everyone to stop. But yeah, still, like, I would hate for this
Okay.
to happen to any of our Spanish players, and I don't understand like why they chose them. Like, not every team has every player to be a superstar. Like Madrid is
Yeah,
one of those teams, and even with Ceballos and Asensio, they can very well fit in a team of superstars. Not them being the superstars, but they are a pretty good glue that I would like to keep in the club. Yeah.
absolutely facts. I really like that that last analogy. I mean, yes, like players like this are invaluable because it's very hard to convince players that not see there is S tier players, there's A tier players, right? Like
Mm.
Ceballos and Asensio might be A tier players, and it's very hard to convince A tier players to not ditch, you know, clubs and move on to places where they might get more game time. It's very difficult. So yeah, we have to navigate this very, very carefully because we need guys like them. Because if you actually go out into the market and try to get someone of Ceballos' caliber or Asensio's caliber, it'll be a grand total of like around 80 million at the least. That is the best case scenario in this market, and we can't afford it, honestly.
Mm.
We need to move towards someone like Haaland or Mbappe, ASAP. So, yeah, man. Asensio, really good performance. Really, really reassuring his place in the squad yet again. Um, who was the other substitute before we get into Alvaro? Am I missing someone else, Doris, that we need to discuss?
Carvajal, I guess.
Yeah, Carvajal.
But not much to
Nothing much to
say. Yeah, we could skip that one. Not much to say. But
good to see him out on the pitch. Like he'll be
yeah,
starting against Liverpool.
but it is interesting. Like a couple of days ago, we did say when Carvajal is back in the squad, he plays every time. And even against Liverpool, I think he will probably start, which is something that seems to happen, especially with Ancelotti. And it
You can't
seems
do
that
anything
every
about
team
it.
that we had, we always rely on Ceballos to be our only and main right back. And
Carvajal, you clicked the bio.
yeah, sorry, yeah, Carvajal.
Right. Yeah. Let's move on to Alvaro then. Yeah, that's it, right? Alvaro is the
Alvaro, yeah.
only guy we need to touch upon. And yeah, man, what a performance! Honestly, should have had 2 assists. I had read about him that he has been having a brilliant under 20 World Cup with Uruguay. I've
Mm.
read stuff like he looks up so much to Fede. I also read the other day that his father came out and said, Fede is like his second dad, basically. He is his work dad. Like he takes care of him and stuff like that. Yeah, man, brilliant to see. I haven't I've seen a few of his goals, but I just can't recall many of them. Like I've seen
Mm.
a few uh, bits of his play here and there. 6'4", like he has the height, he has the lanky, legs to actually be quick. Um, which you saw on the goal that got ruled off. He's really really quick, and very keen on making an impression. Honestly, yeah, man, your thoughts? 18-year-old.
I
You know,
mean,
let's get that.
he got two assists. It was actually one, but let's say he got two assists, and on Google it said that he played 2 minutes, which I mean, for coming on for the first time, and you know, getting two assists that quickly in La Liga. I mean, what a performance! And even a couple weeks ago with Mario Martin, like we saw the same scenario happen. Sorry, that not Martin. It was Hugo, right? I messed
Yeah,
up there. Yeah, I messed up there.
Mario Martin.
No, I don't think he's good. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It was a Castilla player, and it is kind of funny seeing the reaction every time from Ancelotti, because he is happy, but I'm sure he's thinking, why am I not playing these players? Like, I mean, they are right there, and he did get 2 minutes, and he really used those 2 minutes. And same for the other game for the other player. Like, I'm excited to see what's about to come, but I cannot trust Ancelotti to play him ever, and even with him having a performance like this, I don't think Ancelotti will really or actually use him, or at least not above Mariano. I'm pretty sure about that, and there is a steep hill to climb in that position, even though it doesn't seem like it. Like, we always ask for a replacement for Benzema, but then we have to look that Mariano is there, and I'm pretty sure that no one would let a Castilla player play over a 100 million euro player, which is so damn sad. And even now, like, Mariano wasn't available. Finally, when we need him, when Benzema isn't there to carry the team as he always does in the offense, Mariano again isn't there. And when he is, we are trying to console ourselves, like, he is playing okay. He did this okay. Like, he played.
Let's be honest. For
Come
someone who
on.
gets zero game time, he's okay.
If he
He's not
gets
terrible.
game time, la, la, la. But this is Real Madrid. No time for that. No, but it is like, he isn't the only player in a team that doesn't get game time. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
uh, at least I'm
I
happy
just have
that
that
he's
soft corner for
enjoying
him.
his
That for game,
his
honestly.
time here.
You know,
Yeah. But from
I
the
just have
performances he's had, I don't know. I don't think he was good enough when he played for us. And this season, I think his hair is letting him down a little bit in aerials. No, no, I'm actually serious about that, because he missed two absolute sitters when he played. But yeah,
against Mallorca, right? I remember one was against Mallorca. Wasn't a sitter. It was a good chance, but I don't know, man. It's
look at the chance back, please, and look at where the ball hits him. If he didn't have that ponytail on his head, I'm telling you, it went. It was a
let's test
knuckleball.
the.
It was a knuckleball, man.
We should be talking about the initiative that this young 18-year-old kid showed. Like, he
Yeah,
came from the Girona Academy. He's not
let's
exactly Rafa
be
Trica.
serious here. Yeah, but uh, obviously Alvaro was incredible for play 2 minutes, dude. 2 minutes and two
Yeah.
assists. And yeah, obviously I think everyone will ask themselves, why is he not playing anymore. But when you look at our schedule, when is he supposed to play? Even with this game, we weren't confident in putting him on the pitch earlier. and
If a guy like Arribas, who is like in everybody's opinion, even in my opinion, like um, on a different pedestal compared to guys like Alvaro Rodriguez, like in terms of progression, throughout Castilla, like he can't get game time. So
Arribas is definitely, I think, everyone's top one for Ancelotti. Why the hell are you not playing him? Or at least have him on the squad, like sub him in sometimes. But I, I don't know if they're valuing Castilla over this or what's happening here. But I don't think it's working out for anyone. But because it's time for him to leave Castilla. When you get players like that, Castilla isn't a team that is gonna win you things. It is a team that can finally get to a
ultimately, when you
Segunda.
get to
But
yeah,
sorry,
ultimately when you get to like 20, 21, 22, like
yeah, like
in
he's
my opinion, like
old
either
enough to
you're good
leave
enough,
that.
either you're good enough or you're not, right? Like
Yeah,
if you're not, you should be
yeah.
loaned out to maybe progressively develop, right? Like
And for this
why do they
season,
let them stay?
it is good that he's staying because they have a real chance at the promotion. But in general, he needs to leave, and I'm pretty sure. I mean, it will be a real surprise if our board doesn't do something in the summer about that. I really do.
Mm, Ashik says, yeah, you just made my day
I
with that
saw.
Mariano hairdo statement. I bow to you for that. We are not worthy. Right. He also
But
says
it's
that's
true.
the yeah.
It's
Go
true.
on.
Hello, Javier.
What the
Javier is
comment?
in the chat.
Yeah. Hi, Javier. Yeah, man. Hope you enjoyed the game, man. Yeah. Hope the wifey is doing well as well. It's important. But Ashik also says always love it when Fabrica or Castilla boys are talked about. Are you saying Alvaro is my grandson if Fede is his second dad? That's just complicated shit, man. Like I don't have the capacity to break that down now. He also says that's the fabric away. Show up for 30 seconds and score. Play for 2 minutes and 2 assists. That's how youth roll. Facts. Like these guys have been showing tremendous speed. Honestly, like the goal we saw that what Ariba scored against Al Ali. Like normal players, they just go for the shot, or a slightly better player, they maybe take a touch and then go for a shot. Me personally, even when I play FIFA, I take one touch, take a shot. That's it. He took 3 or 4 touches. That just shows the amount of composure that guys like Arribas has. And yeah, man, I've only heard good things about Raul in the Castilla, and you know, you just might see him, coaching the main team, and we all know, what Zidane did, and if Raul can do at least a portion of it, it'll be something insane. But yeah, I guess that's pretty much it, man. A few bits to actually mention before we actually go. There's like 20 of you in the chat. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell on so that you guys know when we actually go live. And yeah, smash the like button, man. It helps with the algorithm. It actually helps a long way in us getting to 1K, which has been the objective of this season. Hope we actually get it over the line before the season ends. Yeah, one K is the landmark for this season. And also we are available on all audio platforms. Um, you can find us on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, like all audio podcasts out there. Like if you actually want to listen to us on the go. And yeah, do check out our partners on Instagram, Real Madrid Committee. Their link is in the description below. They run a brilliant fan page for Real Madrid as well. Um, yeah, man. Also, keep your eyes peeled for the big Liverpool preview. Hopefully, Monday, 2 p.m. EST. 7 p.m. UK time. Not sure about the Madrid time. I forgot to do the conversion, but yeah, 2 p.m. EST. If you guys are not familiar, it's like 1 hour, ahead of our usual preview times. But yeah, man, it'll be great. Really, really looking forward to like cooking Grizz, and continuing the conversation from June. I hope to have had more chest out, but since Liverpool is kind of on the ascendancy and we are kind of back to maybe playing well, it's not ideal. Like I wish we were top of La Liga and we're actually flying, but as things stand, we should be clearly beating Liverpool, and I'll make sure that he gets to know that, and I'm pretty sure he knows that as well. But yeah, man, looking for a very interesting conversation on Monday. And yeah, man, any final thoughts, Doris?
Not really. Not really. To be quite honest with you, not
You could
really. Yeah?
you could ask Mariano to get a haircut, man. You
Please,
know.
Mariano Diaz, I'm begging you. Please get a haircut. If it's gonna hinder your game, I don't think it's good to have that on your head. And also, I would give it a 3 out of 10, or maybe a 2 out of 10. I don't know about that,
Well, yeah.
but yeah, it's jokes. But today I'm happy with the performance. It was a really really rough game, and like I said, like we can always expect those, and it seems like season from season it's getting rough and more and more rough. At least for Vinicius, and right now he is, you know, seeing through some difficult times, and he is still one of our star players, and our players seem to be getting back, and there isn't much to be sad about, only to be happy about,
Yeah, facts, absolutely. I'm happy that we got to navigate such a tough away trip. Let's not get it twisted. Osasuna away, El Sadar, the stadium, the fans, the atmosphere. It's not one of the biggest stadiums in the world. It's like only like maybe 30K capacity, but boy oh boy, they can really get under your skin. And yeah, man, I truly believe that this performance is gonna go a long, long way. In how we show up against Liverpool. But yeah, I guess that's pretty much it, man. Hope we hope we can actually like build some sort of momentum um, away at Liverpool and come back with some sort of a lead, to actually build upon. I hope Cruz actually makes the squad. I think I read Carlos said he might make it. Chouameni is definitely making it. Carvajal is back, so it is a bit more relaxed. So the only miss probably would be Mendy. So yeah, man. Apart from that, I think we should be good. Javier also says, yeah, this was the necessary moral boost. Ashik says officially the second greatest Croat after Luka with the hairdo petition. Yeah, a lot of fans for Doris as usual. But want to make it Anfield, Javier. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. But
yeah.
until next time, a la Madrid.
Ala Malagid.